Hi guys, and welcome back to the Geek Street, where the street speaks. My name is Sean, and I have my buddy over here, Harvin. Say hi.
What's up, guys?
Okay, all right. So it's just the two of us for today. Every time I say that, it sounds very sad, but no lie, no lie. It's not
It's
like
okay. The show must go on.
yes. Whatever is the show must go on. I think week by week, I think probably I'll be the last person be doing the show. Okay, all right. No, but of course, for those of you that don't know, it's actually a public holiday here, so I think the other
Yeah.
two decided to take it as a real public holiday for them, even on Geek Street. So, okay, yeah. But nevertheless, like Harvin said, the show must go on, and the show will go on. Okay, so we are back to break down Miss Marvel episode 5. We are a little bit late, but it's okay. Nevertheless, we'll get it out there. All right. So, Harvin, what do you think about the episode?
Honestly, this episode is more of a mixed feeling of an episode for me. Not of all the episodes that have been released so far, I think this by far is one of my least favorite episode of everything else, because if I clearly remember how Jess explained the previous episode, where it felt a bit rushed. It was a bit rushed, but it was still, there was still plot moving. But this was extremely rushed. I feel this was an extremely rushed of an episode, where the backstory that we get was very simple and nothing to shout about, and that kind of stuff. There was no much of an explainer of an episode. I would say, yeah. I this is the legit filler episode. They made it like a filler episode, definitely.
I sort of felt a bit that way, but I got taken aback at the beginning. Okay, of course, the beginning part we will go through the breakdown, but it felt a little bit like a Bollywood movie. So yeah, I mean, not to say that Bollywood movies are bad, but what I'm saying is it felt that way. I mean, knowing that you're watching Marvel, sort of like a series, but it felt like a Bollywood movie at the end of the day. So yeah. But it's okay. But I think it's a lot of kind of interesting things that we can get into this particular episode, and I think there's some things that were very exaggerated. Okay, so we'll get to that later on. But yeah, so anyways, without further ado, let's just break down Miss Marvel episode 5. Okay, so Miss Marvel episode 5 actually opens up with sort of like a flashback on the history of the partition, things like that. We Malaysians actually, we never, especially us Indians, we never really speak about partitions a lot. And I think our generation of Indians probably don't even know what partition is. If you ask me, this is not something new to me, but if you ask me, that I also only came to know about the partition like maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, rather than growing up with the stories of partition, because we never went through all that thing. So yeah, so it's sort of like this, like a flashback with some Indian politicians, but I know Gandhi was there, so yeah. Okay. There are some of them I don't know who they are, so but it's okay. They I mean, this is like but it's good, like what we speak about in previous episodes, is that how they relate the journey of being separated, and things like that. I think fits into the context of this series, right? And the story that they're trying to tell. So I think it was really good. So that was just like the first part of the opening. And then we go into like Aisha, who's like running away from a British soldier before she turns around and throws a dagger at so her weapon is like a dagger, right? Or like a knife or something like that. So because we see that all the genes from the new dimension, they have like their own sort of weapons that they have. Um, so yeah, that was kind of cool. And so yeah, so that's the sort of like the opening part. Like I said, it's like a Bollywood movie, so it's going to be a bit draggy, but we'll try to get through it as fast as possible because it's very draggy. Okay, so then after the opening credits, all that shenanigans, then we see Hassan, who is actually that's the first time we are taking a look at Sana's father, who is actually Kamala's great grandfather,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we see him that making some speeches, about division and things like that, and how the British are trying to divide them, and so on. So he was like giving a speech, and then we see Aisha like looking in the background, um, trying to blend in. But I don't know why. I see like there's so many men there, but nobody saw her. I don't know whether it's coincidence or whether it is that people cannot see her. I don't know.
Uh, no, I don't think that we have never came across that such of powers within this clandestines yet. Like this, I mean, invisible kind of thing. I think it's just mere coincidence. Like they just choose not to see her in the background.
Or the director said, okay, y'all don't acknowledge her.
Don't acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently Hassan, of course, noticed her, right?
But
So and yeah, if I was Hassan, I'd be like, oh, this girl looking at me one kind, and she's very pretty somehow. So
oh
and
yeah.
I will go like, hey, hi, can I help you? Are you lost?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just wanna acknowledge the fact that Aisha is actually a pretty grandmother.
yeah, right. So then, so as she watches him giving the speech, and only then the British soldiers comes, and then they break up the whole thing, and all that, and then they go on. Then sort of like a few scenes later, I think a day later, I don't know, okay, lah, how the timeline. It's like quite it's a Bollywood movie, lah. I know the timeline is very complicated. So somehow he finds her sleeping on the ground, and then he goes up to her and then ask her a bunch of questions and all that, and then invites her back to his place, where she can like tell where she can have like I think some food to eat and dress and things like that. Okay, so this is like sort of like a where their fairy tale begins, and then like we fast forward a little bit where they fall in love. um, I'm surprised that they never put a dance sequence inside there. And then next thing you know, they have a child.
Yeah.
Okay, the whole thing was like I think the first 15 minutes is like like the Bollywood section of a movie.
Yeah.
They get to know each other, and they have to have like a garden of roses, and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah. So, and then she falls in love. He falls in love with her. Okay, so this also had to happen like in sort of maybe a span of a year, right? And the whole
Yeah.
thing went through like a whole year. Okay.
The whole year, and of course we have to touch upon the timeline where this is happening right after doing. There was this one flashback scene where Najma and Aisha went to get retrieve the bangle, right? So it's happening after that. When she goes missing, and all kind of stuff. Then after this happens, and then they have a kid. So like there's this particular timeline. I don't know how much of the timeline gap between when she found the bangle and she ended up being with Hassan. That there is a certain period of time there, but they didn't acknowledge it much. So I don't think that's something to be bothered of, I guess.
Yeah, because like in the beginning it was like the start of the partition, so that would be like maybe and then because I think that the sort of partition took a few years, but when so they had I mean maybe it's like a year or so of that. So yeah, but the whole point is they wanted to get to the child. Okay, that's the whole point, right? And they managed to do that. Okay. So then, as we know that as the date draws near for the partition border to close, because we know that of course through history that those who are from India Muslims were given some, few days or something like that to travel across India and go into Pakistan before the border like sort of officially closes, and then they said that, okay, this is Pakistan and this is India, and all that. So quite a mess there. So there are some violence that's like intensifying, right? Where Muslim minorities are being marginalized in India, and then they just say, okay, we'll go to Pakistan, where it's like, we will be more happy and things like that. So this kind of like irritates Hassan, even the community around them who probably are majority like Hindus or something along the line, were giving them a hard time, like um, in this episode we see that they can't even go out and buy milk. Aisha has to like get the milkman to smuggle it to them, and things like that. So sort of like like irritates, fumes him lah, so he's that fiery character, right? I don't know why the build up is fieriness, but end up he doesn't really do nothing about it,
Yeah.
so that was like sort of like a character, like unnecessary character development.
No, that one I agree. Yeah, it was a, like they give this extra thing, but then there's no like a book end to that thing. So, but it's okay because I don't think we ever going to see that character again. So it's not much of a big deal. Also.
True. So this one night where he's like getting all irate because he couldn't buy milk and all that. Najma now apparently sees. Aisha sees Najma. I mean, it's a darkened figure standing in the like sort of the garden, but we know it's Najma lah, right? So then she closes the window, and then she hears a knock, and then the milkman comes and gives the milk, and all that, and then that night, Aisha goes and meets Najma, and Najma asks Aisha what happened to her part of the deal. When will she be bringing the bangle, so that the whole plan was for them to go back to the known dimension, right? So that's the reason why they need the bangle. So Aisha says that they want. She will, she will live up to her end of the promise, things like that. But we know that Aisha is already in love with Hassan. Is already in love. I mean, of course, loves her daughter very much. And I think she sort of accepted that why she is in this realm on Earth 616 or Earth, right? Is that she's accepted her fate here, right? Because I think she found happiness here. But we also can see from Nashwa's point of view that she's not very happy here, so hence she wants to go back. So in a way, she's not like a villain, sort of villainy, but I think because of her, like unhappiness that she cannot go back, that leads her to become bad, lah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Najma's point of view, Aisha is being selfish, right? Because she's one person, and then this Najma group, I mean, they have about 4 to 5 people who wants to go back home. So I think if you see in that sense, Aisha is kind of selfish.
Yeah. So I can see those the things. You cannot blame both sides, like, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think, and then Aisha like gets afraid for her family because I think she knows what Najma can be capable of. So she tells Hassan to pack up so that they can go to Pakistan because of all this. She gives the excuse of the partition. I mean, the thing that Muslims are being marginalized, right? So she gives that reason, so that because of the daughter, right? So then what happens is that I think Hassan sort of knows what's happening, and I think he knew at that point in time that, of course, we know he knows, like, because he asked the question later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hassan goes on and speaks about this poem, and then comes up with that, like, not comes up, but he sort of quotes the poem saying, what you seek is seeking you. But then we still don't know what it means until today.
Now, I think if you, I mean, just like how to say, for me, my point of view, I feel like it's just this common line that we used to see in Hollywood movies, where what you seek is within yourself, right? That kind of thing. For me, I feel in that way, like what is seeking is seeking you, that kind of thing. So probably I think that's the case.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end we will come to it because she says that to Kamala later on, right? So
Yeah.
'cause I still don't know what that means. So okay, it doesn't matter. My confusion is not your confusion. Okay. All right. So then they pack up their things. Somehow she convinces Hassan that they need to leave, and then they go to the train station. Okay. So here, okay, wait. Let me. Okay, I'll explain the first part, and then I'll come to why I say there was an exaggeration. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So they come to the train station, and then what they call this Hassan asked Aisha, who was the lady that you saw that night, right? So she explained who she was and things like that. First of all, he never freaked out that she's a jinn. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, but okay, they say love can make you do a lot of things. But if I knew at the end that my wife was some kind of supernatural person, I would freak. You know,
But I
so
don't think she literally said that she's a jinn, right?
no, but I think he got the hint that she's not from around here, right?
Okay. Okay.
That's
Understand.
what
Yeah.
that's what she meant. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and she said why they're coming for her, and it's all about the Bengal, things like that. And he knew, of course, he knew because he said it's magic. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's magic, it's not of Earth, right? So or not like something earthly or
Yeah.
reality based, right? So yeah. So okay, so he tells her all that, and then he sort of say, okay, I mean, he like affirms a love for her, things like that. So they move on. And then Aisha gives Sana to Hassan and says that okay, no matter what happens, you have to keep her safe. You have to keep moving, and you have to get out of here, right? So she gives the bangle to Sana, and then she walks backwards, and I mean, she walks the other direction. And then she comes face to face with Najma, and Najma kills her. Okay, now we know that how much the Bengal also has protected Najma, and she has sacrificed herself for the daughter, right? Okay, so this is where I say it's exaggerated. Okay, so the Kamala comes and helps. So apparently, this whole thing was Kamala helped the grandmother get back to the father. Okay,
Yeah.
and this whole thing about the trail of stars, I thought was something magical. When they were telling the story, like the way they exaggerate the story in episode 2, how they tell, oh, we do trail of stars and all that. I was
Yeah.
like expecting something, but then it's like this tickly little stars that's like going in front of her. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like the whole story is like an exaggeration. Like it swooped her into the arms of the father. Okay,
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
Correct.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, so I mean, of course, Kamala tried to, like, first of all, give her that sort of platform to walk on, and that didn't work because of the amount of people there and all. And I said nobody even like saw her doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh. I'm like, it's like, I mean, if you put the thing above, like, like it's somewhere above a bit in the sky, that one, okay, like look like a star, like something glowing on top kind of thing. But literally below, right? So I'm like, why aren't anyone realizing the fact that there's something glowing below? And it's very bright. I'm like, okay, I think they're too busy, going away from the partition.
I don't know. It was okay, like they wanted to visualize that story, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but also we see that when sort of that platform, one of the platforms sort of like broke, it became like these twinkly stars. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like stars to me. Okay, whatever. Maybe to a child it looked like stars. Okay. um we can also see that Sana was actually sort of controlling it with a hand.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, which shows that she's also part jinn,
Yeah.
and she would have some nur power inside of her, lah, right? So um, and then before that, I mean, of course, Kamala sees Aisha, and then Aisha thinks that is Sana, like a grown-up Sana, but actually it's a great granddaughter, and she gives her the picture of herself and Hassan. Um, so see, this whole thing about this episode is what really intrigued me is that this whole thing about time traveling.
Yes, yes.
It defeats the purpose of whatever we saw in Endgame. Okay, um, okay, or whatever time travel thing that how much we okay I don't know if you remember. Okay, I mean, it happened a long time ago. Of course, now it's been a long time. After Infinity War, we were always talking about time travel. How would it work in the MCU? And then when we eventually saw Endgame, and it gave us a whole different explanation to what we expected it to be, right? And now this thing happens. It's like, okay, was she supposed to go back in time? That means, was it supposed to happen all along?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Because
Um,
because because this is not like, when you look in this whole series and explanation, where this is not the first time she's traveling back. That means it's meant to happen. That means that it has. I mean, if you see in a loop of a timeline, it has to happen. That means it has happened in the loop of a timeline. She has to go back in time to make this trail of stars all to happen. So it has happened, and she has gone to the future, to the past, and it, like I said, I mean, for us now, we are watching. Endgame was such a big thing, and it defeats the whole explanation, the exaggeration they had in Endgame. It's not just like, okay, you hit, okay, open it, go back to the past. It's a very, for me, they could have done some other way for her to go back to the past, but I felt like they just don't know how to do this. But they just try to make us imagine, like, okay, the power of the Noor, and also the power of the Bengal, because it's still they still have to explain the fact that this is a Kree technology based Bengal plus with the Noor power, that's activate something. So go back in the past. They could do something like, but without all of that, it just hit, and then she just goes back to the past. It's just a very yeah. So if at all she did not face, that means the whole thing is she has to face Nachma, she has to meet Kamran, everything, all this has to happen so that she can go back to the past. But if not, she does not go back to the past to save her grandmother.
it's very, I don't know lah. I want to stop talking about time traveling altogether, but I think we gotta escape the fact because we will see. Okay, we'll see something like this in the Ant-Man Quantumania, where there's
Yeah.
another time traveling sort of situation going on. Maybe because we know how Kang is, and how much that the quantum realm will be used and things like that. So we'll see lah, how confused we get.
Yeah. No, but like I said before, like I said earlier just now, they doing the concept of time traveling back to the past is fine, but they should how visualize in a better way, than explaining in a better way, rather than just like flat, and then and the backstory to it is just so flat, and it's so like there's no oof to it. Like, it's just like you go back to safe, and then you're done with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But anyways, we will see lah, how confusing. Lucky not all of us. Everybody be ranting about the time traveling thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So after all that is done, all that Bollywood movie finished already. We come back to reality. We see Kamala, and then hitting on the. I mean, she falls back on the ground after coming back from the past. Which shows that she physically was in the past, and then now she's physically back in the present, right?
Yes.
And then we see Nashma then sees this veil open up like a sort of to another dimension, right? It doesn't look like a veil per se, but it's like all these lights beaming up from one particular place. So then Nashma and Faria, like, they try to reach out for it, and then poof, they get like crystallized, and then they sort of break away, and then did they die? I don't know. Isn't Nashma supposed to be the evil person in this series, and she dies in episode 5? I don't know. Okay, it's very, very confusing to me. All right. Because there's no like how they say, Okay, I mean, like, is there like a bad person in the series?
uh, I think there's no. If you ask me, I really think there's no like the big bad villain. I think now what's going to happen is more like Kamran is just going to get infuriated that the mother is dead. You know, yeah, based on that only he'll be angry of that, but not like a villain with a purpose. You know, some other villain's going to come with a purpose. You know, that one I don't see that particular thing. I just think just Kamran getting angry on
Yeah, because if you like
that.
look back into Hawkeye, right? There was always this mystery person who's the bad guy, right? And
Yeah.
of course, then we know was Wilson Fisk, right? So, but in this, there's no like mystery. It's always been like Najma, sort of being like the bad person, and now there's like
Yeah.
who is the next bad person? Because we know from the comics, like Kamran is not actually like a bad character, right? But why they want to make him a bad character in this, it doesn't. Doesn't suit. But of course, because we know that, I mean, Kamran's character in the comic is not such a very prevalent character, so maybe they might just turn him bad and make him into a villain.
Yeah.
Okay. But we'll see how it goes. So now we got no more villain for now, but we'll see how. So as Nashma sort of like crystallizes and goes away, before that she mentions Kamran's name before touching the veil or the light. It's like beaming out. So I think a part of, I don't know whether it's a part of her that went into Kamran, or whether is it like that something from the no dimension, or is it her that went into? I don't know what went into.
It's a very unexplained story, but then maybe not fully Nachma's conscious transfer to Kamran is maybe like the Noor, Nachma's Noor is transferred to Kamran, but Kamran can sense that the mother died in this kind of manner, with fighting with Kamala and stuff like that, and that so he because it's still Nachma's Noor, right? So that's why I think maybe he could sense, and that's when he picks up that anger within him, and maybe that's how it conflicts even more after that.
True. But we'll see, like, because now he becomes that bluish or teal color, inhuman, right? So he becomes that. So okay. Then Muniba and Sana looks for Kamala. This one was very funny. She didn't know there's this thing called Find My Phone feature. They said always all this while. So somehow they locate Kamala, they find her, and they find her with, of course, Karim, who is the Red Dagger. We didn't mention him in this entire episode because in the entire actual episode of Miss Marvel also, he was there just for a while only. But as Karim and Kamala say goodbye, there's a very interesting thing that Karim says. He says the US government has warrants out for him. So is he being chased by DODC? Is he being chased by probably Val's? Maybe he's going to be part of Thunderbolts. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe he was on. It's too. I mean, Val's Thunderbolts. I think it's too far fetched because I don't think he's that type of a character. You can see the characterization of Karim is still like a kid. He has his own adventures. Still like a Kamala Park kind of a character. But DODC possible. Besides DODC is just I think on a scale maybe just the FBI scale because I think they are one organization, so maybe this Red Dagger organization have to investigate some sort of thing. Maybe they have gone into the US, that kind of thing, and then they have their targets on the Red Dagger organization, this kind of people and stuff. So maybe just a few here and there, but besides that, I don't think there's a much of a thing. If they want to move forward this character storyline, they can move forward later on in the. I don't know whether it's going to be in the Marvels.
I think they just left it open to in case they want to explore the storyline later. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Then what they call Kamala finds out more about the mother being a rebel, and then find out why there's actually a brown Jovi at the wedding, in the brother's wedding now, because he's a big fan of Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah. So then after all that is done in Pakistan, back in the US, Kamran, after he gets hit by this whale sort of power, sorry, this Noor power, whether it's from Najma or whether it's from the Noor dimension itself. So he finds Bruno, right? He thought that Brian was his name all along, and then they go up, but they sort of become like buddy buddies, trying to help. I think, trying to figure out what actually happened to him, right, and all that. And then the episode ends by him blasting a DODC drone. Okay, this drone reminds me a lot of the one from Far From Home.
Oh, yeah, I think it's definitely found from because um, DODC was initially created by Iron Man. So, but then ever since the Sokovian Accords happened, DODC now has fallen into the government's hand. So now the government is the one who's controlling the DODC. And if you remember from Far From, I think the government DODC has got like all the StarTech drones and everything. So I think after that onwards, they have, it's up to their usage how they want to use the drones.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the end of episode 5. It's very uninteresting episode, but okay. I think they killed off the wife and they killed off Nashma. I don't know whether she's really dead or whether she'll be, she dies in this reality or in this dimension and then resurrects in another dimension. That could be a possibility as well, right? So maybe we'll see a stronger version of Najma coming through the whale later, So
Yeah.
So what do you think about episode 6? What do you think? What's the anticipation for it?
After episode 5, my anticipation went down quite low for episode 6 because I think I mean after watching the second last episodes 4, you will have a lot of theories. Okay, this is what's going to happen. But after watching episode 5, your theories is just very, you don't go beyond, you don't go crazy with your theory. There's like a villainous character. All I can think about is just Kamran getting probably just mad that his mother is dead and probably fighting with Miss Marvel. And of course, the end tag of the series will be definitely connecting to future Marvel movies, and of course will be the Marvels. That's for sure. That's definite. But then Miss Marvel series on a whole is just that particular vibe moving forward is just, I don't know how to anticipate even more because it's just they killed off this vibe here. That the story moving forward is just it just lacks with interesting theories.
Yeah, it lacked a lot of oomph for the final episode. So
Yeah.
like I think like in Hawkeye we had I think the ending we had that reveal, right?
Wilson Fisk reveal at the end, and if you see Hawkeye, every episode is moving forward. I don't think there was a much of a filler episode at all in that series. That every episode is a interesting thing moving for mystery moving forward. But then if you see, if I'm not mistaken, I think Moon Knight also, even the episode 5 was an explanatory episode, moving forward. But then it's not much of a vibe of an episode also. So I think what Marvel, I think, from my point of view, I think Marvel just needs to, even they're doing 6 episodes of a series, I think if at all they want to do a filler episode, I think they should do it on the 4th episode. The fifth and 6th, they should just save it up for a big bang. They should just go for it, because if now 5th is going to be like 5th is going to put a filler episode, they have to, compact everything into episode 6 and will be like unhappy about it. That kind of thing. So I think if at all they want to do a filler episode, should be about episode 4. But 5, I think moving forward with all the series, I hope episode 5 and 6 should be the one where, they move forward with the episode. They go with interesting plot lines and and conclude the whole series.
Okay, all right. So we'll just wait for episode 6 lah. Huh? Okay. So you guys please comment down below what do you think about episode 5. Whether you guys like it, don't like it. If you guys don't like it, don't thumbs down our video. Just comment if you don't like it. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it for episode 5 and for this breakdown. So please guys do like our um, videos and please follow us on Instagram, please. Okay. We post interesting contents thanks to Harvin, who comes up with very creative ideas. Thank you. For so guys, please, and we also post, sometimes if you have any breaking news, like for example, Thor Love and Thunder is still not out in Malaysia, and I'm seeing spoilers everywhere. Okay, but I'm avoiding them as much as I can. So far, thank God, I have not what they call fallen into the trap of going through a spoiler. So I've not been on Reddit. Okay, hence you can see my lack of knowledge for this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So all right. YouTube, I'm still trying my very best to stay away from it because we need to upload videos, so I cannot not go to YouTube. So I'm trying my best. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we post a lot of news and so on, and so please do follow us on Instagram at thegeekstreet.my. The Facebook is the same at thegeekstreet.my, because whatever we post on Instagram goes on Facebook. So if you are whichever that you socialize more on, you can add us or follow us there, right? And please join our Discord community as well. No spoilers, okay? We won't give any spoilers in our community. So come and join us and rant with us, okay? Your likes and dislikes, whatever is it that you guys want to talk about. And we have an amazing meme page, right? So or a channel in Discord. So come and join us if you like memes. Come and join us. I think Harvin and Jess are going crazy with memes. So yeah. Other than that, that's it. Any last words, Harvin? Last words.
Last words. Hoping Miss Mao episode 6 will be at least averagely good.
Yeah. All right. I'm hoping the same too. Okay. At least give us a nice ending, lah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So that's it from us, guys. And this is the Geek Street, and the street has spoken. Bye bye.
Ciao.